Hello everyone. So nice tools are, well, nice, but they also can be quite expensive. So in this video, I'm going to show you some tools which might not be immediately obvious what they're for, but they do serve a really particular purpose, and it's stuff that you tend to make at home. Sometimes with these tools, you can get the official, the proper version, but there's a specific reason I'll be using this version instead. So first of all, we have this pretty unremarkable and innocuous looking thing. What it actually is a sawn down part of an old brake adapter, and I use it to change the orientation of my calipers when bleeding brakes. Now with the latest SRAM, for instance, it's not so important with that bleeding edge, but with older systems, having that port as the highest point of the caliper really makes sure that you can minimize the air in the system. You can even, if you wanted to, twist it like so. If you want to make your life extra easy, you can even drill out the threads from that bolt hole there. Next up, we have something that's one of my favourite bodges and always ends up in my toolbox. It's actually just some cheap mold grips where I bonded on some of those bleed blocks you get from Shimano. These are amazing hose clamps, and because they're not used for anything else, they're always the right size. This not helps me insert, the barbs and whatnot, but it means that my cable routing can always be really neat, because even if the hose twists, I can get some purchase with these to twist it back and end up with all my cables parallel. Next, we have some more stuff that I've hacksawed to pieces. This yet again is a brake block. This is from SRAM. And what I've done, as you can see, is take away a piston's worth of plastic. This means when it's in the caliper, if one piston's not moving, depending on the orientation I put this in, I can always force it. So all the hydraulic force is going through one piston. This helps make sure my pistons are always really active, easy to lube, and very easy to balance. Dedicated cutting guides are great. They allow you to cut your bars to a really good tolerance. However, they are heavy. When I'm doing flyaway races or whatnot, I need something light that goes into my toolbox. For that reason, I have what is just an old handlebar grip clamp, and I can press the blade really tight up to there and get a really close tolerance on any bars that I cut. I also like the fact that it doesn't obscure any vision and lets me do it with ease and precision. Toe straps off these old clipped pedals are such a useful thing to have around. You may as well use them in brake bleeds and all sorts. But I'll always carry a toe strap and a 10mm, even if my bike hasn't got any 10mm Allen keys on. And the reason I do that is for taking apart and reassembling headsets. So I use this to hold the fork into the frame when I haven't got the top assembly on the headset, and I use this to hold the stem and all the spacers in order with no worries when I take the fork out of the frame. The next thing I have, well, I'm going to sound like your mother at this rate, the amount I've gone about it, but I'm always worried about contamination. So I have cotton buds for cleaning and also paintbrushes for applying any grease that I need to. This is such an important thing because sometimes when you're putting grease on, you can take that contamination places without even realizing it. I'll always carry Superglue in my toolbox. I find that it actually gets me out of a lot of sticky situations, if you'd excuse the pun. What I really like it for though, is instead of using cable ends, I tend to just use this. It stops the cable splaying out, and the added benefit is that I don't have to shorten my cable by removing the cable end when I want to take it out of the outer. So it does help a lot, especially if you're doing a lot of tweaks, taking off front ends apart and stuff like that. Being able to just pull the inner and outer out without having to use a new inner every time is really useful. Now this old aerosol lid, it's still got the barcode on, isn't a piece of old junk. It's actually a really useful way. At races, you change tyres a lot, and this seems to be the perfect size for scooping up sealant. Make sure to wash it every time, otherwise it gets all gunky and horrible. But if you are changing tyres a lot, it saves any wastage, and it's also a very good neat storer for tape. I always carry Sharpies with me as well. They're super useful, especially for marking where your controls are on your handlebars. So if you need to do a front end service, you can always get them back in the same spot. I'd always, on a SRAM brake, colour in on the inside on that little square box. It's really discreet, but it means you'll always get them back in the same place. Last but not least, when you are working on a hub trying to remove bearings or something and you haven't got a vise on a workbench, it can be very, very difficult to do. I just use this inside of tubeless rolls to sit the hub on, and the spokes sit on there. They're reasonably stiff, but they're soft enough that they're not going to cause any damage to your spokes or anything like that. And it gives me some space to hammer out the bearings into. Well, that's all from me. I hope I've been able to be some help. If you like what you saw, you can check out another one of my videos where I look at brake hacks here, and we actually had a really good tech show last week, so click here to see that one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.